Francis Donald here. I'd like to welcome you to this Sagittarius pre-full moon webinar. Michael is on his way back to Finland, but posted these words about Sagittarius in the invitation to the webinar. In Sagittarius, we head towards the lowest part of the yearly lower interlude, fully achieved at the ingress of the sun into Capricorn, which occurs December 21st. Yet, Sagittarius is also the sign which offers a lofty vision of soul spirit potentials. Sag is the sign of vision. Where there is no vision, the people perish, it is said. The present vision before the majority of human beings is starved for sanity. It is the responsibility of those trained in the ageless wisdom tradition to offer a far truer vision of inner reality and the way that reality relates to the world of appearances in the lower three worlds. The great majority of reality lies outside the ring pass not of present human consciousness. This can and must change. The purpose towards which human beings strive must receive a strong infusion of truth. People strive for so many things, and so many of them are valueless or unreal. If disciples live up to their responsibility, all this can change, and humanity can learn to strive together towards the vision of the real. In meditation, together we can work toward this desirable objective. And I would add that a lot of the vision of Sagittarius has to do with stimulating and bringing into active potency the intuition, and as does meditation. So in that way, they are aligned. Okay, now from esoteric astrology, the section on Sagittarius. And the next few slides here have to do with the symbol that is used most commonly with Sagittarius, which is threefold, kind of like Scorpio is threefold. This being progressive over the ages. You can see two of them here, kind of in the background of the print is the centaur, and then to the left is the disciple on the white horse. Okay, Sagittarius is sometimes depicted as an archer on a white horse, and a study of the meaning of this symbolism will reveal a great deal of inner teachings. This is one of the later ways of portraying this constellation. Earlier, in Atlantean days, from which period we have inherited what we know about astrology, the sign was frequently depicted by the centaur, the fabulous animal which was half man and half a horse. The horse symbolism dominated Atlantean myths and symbols, just as the ram and the lamb are prominently to be found in our modern presentations. This earlier sign of the centaur stood for the evolution and the development of the human soul, with its human objectives, its selfishness, its identification with form, its desire, and its aspirations. The archer on the white horse, which is the more strictly Aryan symbol for this sign, signifies the orientation of the man towards a definite goal. The man is then not part of the horse, but is freed from identification with it and is the controlling factor. The definite goal of the centaur, which is the satisfaction of desire and animal incentives, becomes, in the later stages, the goal of initiation, which meets with satisfaction in Capricorn after the preliminary work has been done in Sagittarius. And that brings up the keywords, which I can include in the text here, which is the esoteric keywords for the soul-inspired disciple is I I see the goal, I reach the goal, and then I see another. I believe that's how it's worded. So it's interesting here, the idea of the centaur. We have, it brings to mind the fact that coming into full personality awareness, which is culminated through integration of the personality, is a definite goal of the aspiring jiva. It's part of evolution. And that part in the Sagittarian way is symbolized by the centaur. It's integrating the animal nature in the expression of the human being. But for the disciple, the rider on the white horse with the arrow pointed towards the goal is much the more esoteric symbol. I was on a road trip this last week, and it was a long trip, and it gave me a chance to listen to Externalization of the Hierarchy on a CD. So I listened to it for like 26 hours. And during listening of this, I came across a section that described the second iteration of the Great Invocation, which was given out in 1940. Very specifically aimed at overcoming the forces of evil from World War II. And one of the stanzas of that Great Invocation really caught my eye because it is so specifically Sagittarian in nature. And there it's at the top of the screen: let the lords of liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of men. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and coming save. So this is a series of quotes from Externalization. I picked the most pertinent, those having to do most specifically with the rider from the secret place, and kind of strung them together in this quote, all from Externalization of the Hierarchy. Okay, here we come up against one of the oldest traditions in the world and of the ancient East. One, too, which finds its counterpart in the New Testament, where the coming one is seen coming forth to the rescue of the people, riding upon a white horse. From a distant epoch in the Orient, remote in the night of time, the greater world cycle started in the sign Sagittarius, the archer, symbol for an emerging revelation of the consciousness of deity, as revealed through some great divine expression, through some manifesting Son of God. The point to bear in mind is that the rider on the white horse is no extraplanetary entity or life, but is one of our own humanity, who has reached a predestined goal, and who, for very love and understanding of humankind, has remained for ages in the secret place of revelation, as it is esoterically called, waiting until his hour comes around again, so that he can then issue forth to lead his people to triumphant victory. This coming one is on the path of a world savior. Those who can in some measure employ the enlightened will may succeed in reaching the lords of liberation. Those who work more emotionally will reach the rider from the secret place, and may bring him forth to save and lead the masses of people. Mankind will then see the love which animates the will and power of God. The true significance of liberty will then be revealed. Okay, I'd like to close this section on Sagittarius by following the symbolism to its the Sagittarian symbol to its final stage, which is described here, also from astrology. It is interesting to note that the astrological symbol for this sign currently used is simply the arrow with a fragment of the bow depicted. The archer, as well as the centaur, have dropped out of the picture, and this is largely because the emphasis or focus on human living today is not based upon the objective outer facts of life upon the physical plane, but upon some form of inner focus or emphasis, hence the arrow, which varies from the many stages of astral and emotional ambition to spiritual aspiration, and from the activities of the lower mind bent upon selfish interest to the illumination of the same mind through focus upon the soul. An ancient catechism, which all disciples have to master, asks the following questions and supplies the needed answers. Where is the animal, O Lanu, and where the man? Fused into one, O master of my life, the two are one. But both have disappeared, and naught remains but the deep fire of my desire. Where is the horse, the white horse of the soul? Where is the rider of that horse, O Lanu? Gone towards the gate, O master of my life. But something speeds ahead between the pillars of an open door, something that I myself have loosed. And what remains to thee, O wise Lanu, now that the horses of two kinds have left thee, and the rider unattached stands free? Now what remains? Not but my bow and arrow, O master of my life. But they suffice. And when the right time comes, I, thy Lanu, will follow fast upon the shaft I sent. The horses I will leave upon this side of the door, for then I have no further need. I enter free, regain the arrow which I sent, and speed upon my way, passing from door to door, and each time the arrow speeds ahead. Okay, so let's settle into our meditation for this night, evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. So make yourself comfortable with the spine erect, and withdraw your consciousness from the personality and its vehicles, and enter deeply into the presence of the soul. Feel yourself established as a soul within the field of light, love, and spiritual power. Merge yourself as a soul into a deep sense of the group soul. This group can be those gathered here today, as well as those involved in the Morya Federation, or other groups that you yourself may be associated with. Now expand that sense of connection outward as well as inwardly, and imaginatively unite in soul with the spiritually minded people of the world and with the men and women of goodwill. This is the second ray way of ever expansive inclusion. One effective way to do this is through the triangles way, visualizing the triangles that you set up and imagining the etheric body of the planet as a series of interlinked triangles, each point representing a conscious group. Now, at the heart of this linking process is the realization that there's no separation, that there is no my soul and thy soul. So visualize the group soul merging into the one soul of humanity, the one identity, and deeply realize not is, but me. Now imagine a potent point of tension fed by the will aspect of the soul in accordance with your soul ray gathered at the mental unit and forming the foundation of the antakarana. The antakarana is built through accessing the intuition and through visualization. The sensory line is through taste. It's taste, imagination, discrimination, and then on the Buddhic plane, the intuition. And so using that line, it's imagination and discrimination, one can invoke the intuition. So with some awareness of the soul and personality ray, your personality, soul and personality ray type. And if you're unclear, use the always just use the indigo, the second ray. Imaginatively visualize your dual-colored individual antakarana or rainbow bridge, connecting your lower mind, centered in the mental unit, with the monastic permanent atom, and subsequently with the Buddhic and Atmic permanent atoms of the spiritual triad. So project upward from the mental unit and through a visualization of this dual-colored rainbow bridge or antakarana, with the idea that you're bridging the gap, which is a gap of the higher mental plane to the first subplane of that higher mental plane would be mental permanent atoms or monastic permanent atoms. And then from there, project on upwards into the spiritual triad. Use the color indigo, especially if you do not know your soul and personality rays. Otherwise, use the colors of your soul and personality rays, with the soul ray color more prominent. I might add that there is no right way to do this. The effort of extension, of sending that a beam of intention upwards, is an invocation to the intuition. And it's through the intuition that the form and nature of your antakarana will reveal itself. Now, imagine your individual antakarana merging with the group antakarana, which is colored with all the 7 ray colors, but primarily underscored by the deep indigo blue of the second ray, both reaching into the realms of the spiritual triad. Your individual antakarana and ray qualities and the individual antagaranas of all group members with their ray qualities are visualized as part of the group antakarana. Attempt to deeply feel this connection. Inwardly and in continued identification with the group soul, affirm the great word of power. I see the greatest light, as you imaginatively project a line of vivid, living white light into triadal realms, along and across the individual and group antikaranas from an established point of individual and group tension on the mental plane. So once we've established our group point of connection at the monastic permanent atom, this becomes a new threshold for projecting upwards into the triadal realms. And the invocative means of projecting that white light, that living white light, is through the word of power, I see the greatest light. In the presence of this great light of the spiritual triad, attempt to feel the presence of the great white brotherhood, the Lodge of Masters, the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. Inwardly and with heartfelt gratitude, offer your salutations to the Masters and to the head of the hierarchy, the Christ. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all Masters. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Salutations to Master Morya. Salutations to the Master Kut Umi. Salutations to the Master Dual Ku. Salutations to your own Master as you conceive him to be. Salutations to the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. Now, imaginatively, raise your thoughts to Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known, and with deepest reverence and in all humility, attempt, identified as the group soul, to attune with the presence of Sanat Kumara, standing at the center of Shambhala. Sound a long, silent Om as you imagine the group imbued with his energy. So let's now together sound this silent Om. Realize that Shambhala is the planetary center through which the energies of the constellations and the planets initially enter according to the law of assembly, especially at full moon opportunities, to be distributed to all sentient beings upon the earth. Now, let us align with the spiritual qualities emanating from the three planetary rulers of the sign Sagittarius. Jupiter, the exoteric ruler, conveying a vision of ever-expanding horizons and the enthusiastic motivation to move beyond and through the limitations of the present ring past night. Earth, the esoteric ruler, conveying the realization that our planetary sphere must be spiritually enlivened until it becomes outwardly the sacred planet it already is inwardly. And Mars, the hierarchical ruler, conveying the zeal to redirect and elevate the tendency of all lunar lords through the power of aspiration. So let's begin with the exoteric ruler. Ponder on the power of Jupiter in relation to Sagittarius to extend one's vision of truth and reality, and to expand one's consciousness to embrace an ever-widening ring past night. Embrace the positivity of Jupiter, its assurance of beneficial growth and eventual fulfillment. Realize the growing sense of all-inclusive wholeness which Jupiter confers. Since Jupiter is the systemic Son of God, the Christ at the level of the planetary system, you can visualize it or imagine it emanating from your heart chakra at that point between and behind your shoulder blades. Filling you with expansive, ever-inclusive will to love. In silence, open your consciousness imaginatively to impressions born upon the Jupiterian stream of energy. You may choose to visualize the astrological glyph of Jupiter in the color royal blue, or in indigo, or in blue with a slightly violet tinge. Attempt to realize the areas in which you and your group, our group, are most in need of the Jupiterian qualities, and then visualizing yourselves imbued with the divine qualities of Jupiter. Imaginatively transmit those qualities to your group. Let us ponder now on the power of the earth to redeem the etheric, physical nature of both human beings and of our planetary globe, revitalizing these lesser and greater etheric physical vehicles in ways which disengage them from retrogressive lunar tendencies. Through the influence conveyed by the logos of planet Earth, realize your and our capacity to tread the path which leads to the energetic glorification of our planet until it becomes a sacred planet. Realize the earth as a sacred heavenly temple in which spirit finds itself, its embodiment in spiritually regenerated matter. In silence, open your consciousness imaginatively to impressions born upon the stream of energy emanating from our planet, the Earth. Visualize the astrological glyph of Earth, the even-armed cross encompassed by a circle in the color blue-green. Attempt to realize the areas in which you and our group are most in need of the qualities of the planet Earth, and then visualizing yourselves, ourselves, imbued with the divine qualities of Earth. Imaginatively transmit those qualities to your group. Let us ponder now on the power of Mars in relation to Sagittarius, its hierarchical ruler. Consider Mars as the planet stimulating the power of aspiration until aspiration becomes transmutation and spiritual elevation. Realize Mars as the planet driving the quest for ever new experiences of a reality lying beyond the present ring past knot of consciousness through the elevatory immolation of the lunar nature. Realize the potency of Mars impelling towards the treading of the way of higher evolution, which leads to outward bound monad towards its truer homes in those distant constellations which form the chakras of our local, the one about whom not may be said. In silence, open your consciousness imaginatively to impressions emerging from Mars's transcendent qualities. You may visualize the astrological glyph of the planet Mars in the color scarlet red. Now let's attempt to realize the areas in which you and your group, our group, are most in need of these transcendent qualities. And visualizing yourselves imbued with the divine quality of Mars, transmit those qualities to your group. Now let us raise our imaginative group consciousness to the solar logo, expressing through our sun and the solar system. Attempt to feel that the great second ray of the solar logos, the God of love wisdom, is pouring through all planets, Shambhala, and every monad, soul, and personality on planet Earth. Now let us focus our imaginations on the constellation Sagittarius, radiating its peculiar quality of light. Quote, Sagittarius, a beam of directed, focused light. In this, the point of light becomes the beam, revealing a greater light ahead and illumining the way to the center of the light. This underscores the keywords of Sagittarius. This stands at a causal level to it. I see the path. I see the goal. I reach the goal, and then I see another. Open yourself to feel the energy quality of Sagittarius, attempting to realize its profound relationship to the second ray of love, wisdom. It's actually a relationship to the fourth, fifth, and sixth rays via Jupiter, Earth, and Mars. Let us now ponder deeply on the mantra of Sagittarius. I see the goal. I reach that goal. And then I see another. So now let us reopen ourselves imaginatively and silently to the following downflows of energy from the constellation Sagittarius, through the solar logos, the heart of the solar system, through the planets Jupiter, Earth, and Mars, into Shambhala, and thus through each of our monads and all associated monads, into the hierarchy, through the great Lord, the Christ, and into and through the ashram with which you believe yourself to be increasingly associated, and thus through your soul and the group soul or your co-workers, and into your spiritualized personality and all associated spiritualized personalities. Now, preserving your high alignments, including that of the Antakarana, visualize or think of the world situation and the ways in which the energies of Sagittarius can be applied for the upliftment and redemption of humanity and the planet in accordance with the divine plan. How can the qualities of vision, expansiveness, optimism be used to further the world situation and to bring it into the light? Visualize the energies of Sagittarius rightly applied, solving at least one important problem of humanity or problem of the planet. Imbued with the several energies bestowed upon you and the group at this time of the Sagittarius full moon, with hands upraised, send your blessings into humanity and its consciousness so that it may rise to its new spiritual potentials as promised by the divine plan. So now, while preserving our high alignment, we will sound the great invocation as if in unison with the Christ, masters of the wisdom and the members of our group. We will then close with the sounding of the sacred word Om 3 times, spreading light, love, and power to all humanity, all kingdoms of nature and the planet. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men. The purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center of which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you all so much for attending. It's been a pleasure hosting this webinar. And I'll see you next time. You might put in a prayer. Michael is airborne on his way back to Finland for his safe journey and arrival. Okay, so goodbye for now, and we'll see you next time.